Thank you, Vice Chancellor, sir, the members of the table, and distinguished guests. I know that now Professor Rohan Gunaratne might be thinking that I told them many times to have this diaspora, using of the word diaspora. So I included an open source response to LTT sympathizers. Actually, I'm talking about the sect of the diaspora who are actually supporting the cause of the LTT, the cause of the division of Sri Lanka. I'm not talking about the moderate diaspora that is actually helping the Sri Lankan government to carry out the development. So please aware that throughout my presentation. And this topic, effective use of tour guiding in countering Tamil diaspora and open source response to LTT sympathizers. I call it open source response because the tool that I'm going to use in this is freely available. It's everywhere. You and I can do this. And I don't have any academic theories behind it, but I think it's the will that we have as citizens in this country who we can do a lot, not by just letting it to do to the government. As citizens, we can do this without any cost. Concept of hubs, actually, I will draw your attention back into our topic. Actually, we are talking about hubs, becoming a hub. What is a hub, actually? Hub is simply the term itself says the unprecedented realms of connections. In current global order, connectivity is a vital condition in development and sustainment. We all agree with that. Sri Lanka is now looking for connections, new connections. We are looking towards Africa, South America, all over the world. And Sri Lanka needs firewalls to secure these connections. We need to secure our connections because when we open up our doors, viruses can come. The malfunctions can come. Different types of threat potentials emerge to hinder the very foundation of Sri Lanka's post-conflict ambitions. This post-conflict ambition of ours is none other than becoming a hub in Asia. Has Sri Lanka properly identified the shape of the form of the emanating threat? Have we identified it? I have my doubts because during the war, we all know that we all focused on one thing. We had this theme, Api Venu and Api, which was one of the best campaigns ever run in the world history, I think. But now we are scattered. Our focus is scattered around everywhere. We are not focused on winning the second half of our war. Actually, the new assemblages of terror seek to inflict, defame on Sri Lanka to avenge the defeat of the LTT. This new threat is very clearly trying to disconnect or unplug Sri Lanka from being a hub. Aims at pushing Sri Lanka towards isolation within international community. So this is actually the national defeat that they aspire in the future, to isolate Sri Lanka. I have taken a part of this challenge to discuss, that is the challenge to the industry of tourism. And propaganda carried out by the LTT-friendly diaspora groups are actually affecting Sri Lankan tourism industry to a great extent. The sole intention of them is to tarnish the good image of Sri Lanka and to create a bad reputation as a not safe destination to visit. You can see, still, we are improving in our numbers of arrivals from Western Europe and other countries, but they are very slow. The improvement is very slow because of these activities. By doing so, the LTT expects two outcomes. One is to hinder the growth of the country's gross national product, the service export sector, to actually attack that part and to disconnect us from the foreign audiences. The bad thing about it is they are denying the foreign audiences to access to the ground truth of Sri Lanka. If they come, they will see what is happening. This is one of the campaigns. Actually, I don't want to give a platform to LTT propaganda here, but just for information, Think Again Sri Lanka campaign. and the forthcoming Shogam they are targeting at. So there are so many other campaigns also, especially backed by the telecommunication industry, which I cannot reveal the names of these companies because of the legal implications, but they are million-dollar companies who back financially to this political lobbying and as well as public strategic communication campaign of the LTTE. What is the role of the tour guide? Actually, nobody thinks about tour guides, but tour guides can do a lot because when a visitor comes to Sri Lanka, they are the most, our closest friend to the tourists. And actually tourists almost believe whatever they tell. And tour guides can do a lot by creating, not creating, actually revealing the truth about Sri Lanka in a professional manner. And they are able to making connections with foreign audiences. Tour guides have the capacity to play a key role in promoting the national interest of the country. Tour guides could utilize strategic communication techniques if they are trained well in order to achieve their task. And this strategic communication part, tour guides should be able to strategically handle the foreign audiences to impart the national narrative of the country, that is our story, the story of Sri Lanka, into the minds of the tourists in order to promote the national interest. In this picture, you can see Jim Moody, one of the former parliamentarians, conducting a tour to ordinary people at the Congress building. Actually, America is using this. United States is using this by using their top professionals to do their strategic communication. And I have found two countering measures in this regard. One is direct countering and the other one is indirect countering. Actually, direct countering involves direct action against the strategic communication operations carried out by the LTTE. Actually speaking, organized, enlightened citizenry. Actually, we are an enlightened citizenry in Sri Lanka. We are a shock-proof citizenry. And we are very, very, very much known about this terrorist behavior. So we can do this, we can reveal the truth to the visitors who come to this country. And these tour guides can specially be a public diplomat, and they can play a role of a diplomat towards regaining the fame of Sri Lanka in order to become a hub. And preparation of national narrative in this regard. Actually, this national narrative is the short and simple story about Sri Lanka and what we are, and honestly what we are, not created stories. And an honest national narrative can go a long way, and honest national narrative can bring us sustainment and development. In this narrative, there are so many things. There are few messages we can impart. One is we are one nation and we are not going to divide at any cost to bring peace. Our peace is being one, united. And second thing is our development story, the story of our development. The third thing is the happiness of the North and East people. And they are not being, communicated properly to the world. And you can also say this financial empire that LTT is having by using these poor people in Sri Lanka, by selling these poor people's lives in Sri Lanka. And again, we can also tell that unknowingly these foreign audiences are spending money on these campaigns. They don't know that they're spending money on terrorist campaigns. So, and again, the story of en bloc voting and how their constituency is being used for terrorism. And they can also be told that foreign audiences can only be helped by telling this truth about Sri Lanka to the Western audiences. And again, the indirect countering measures itself includes the proper conducting of a tour. Small things can go a long way. Properly handling the tour with a friendly manner and unforgettable, delivering them with an unforgettable experience and detailing everything from beginning to the end will bring us immense advantages. And it includes looking after the profession of guides, which I don't have time to elaborate, but there are ample problems in this profession of guiding, but you can solve all these things and use them as a good communicator or good diplomat in the country for a captive audience that we are getting from the countries where LTT is operating. So, and increasing faith in this profession is also another thing that we can look at. And value addition to the packages, where these people are coming from, especially to the Western European packages. And they will be able to be very happy, and then they can carry the news of Sri Lanka, they can carry the true story of Sri Lanka to the world. And revealing the true picture or giving them a total Sri Lankan experience should be their mission. I think with that, I will conclude my presentation. And what I say is not only guiding, but I think the profession of nurses, many other professions can be trained into do some public diplomacy campaign for Sri Lanka to regain the tarnished name of our motherland. Thank you.